Have you ever felt your heart grow heavy, not from the weight of your own troubles, but from carrying someone else's? You've spent years giving your time, your wisdom, your kindness, pouring yourself into others because that's who you are. A helper, a listener, a light for those in need. But as the years pass, you might notice a quiet ache, a sense that no matter how much you give, some people never seem to rise. Instead, they pull you into their struggles, draining the energy and peace you've worked so hard to nurture. After 60, every moment, every breath becomes more precious. You've earned the right to live with clarity, purpose, and calm. But here's a truth we don't often talk about. Not everyone is ready to receive the help you offer. Some people, without meaning to or not, can sap your strength, dim your spirit, and leave you wondering if your efforts even matter. This isn't about shutting your heart to the world. It's about opening your eyes to where your kindness can truly grow and where it's simply lost. In this video, we're diving into 7 types of people. You should think twice about helping after 60, not because you're cold, but because you're wise. These are the ones who, unless they choose to change, might quietly erode the peace you deserve. From those who cling to denial to those who thrive on chaos, we'll explore why stepping back can be the most loving choice for them and for you. And we'll share how to protect your energy so you can give where it matters most without losing yourself in the process. This is about reclaiming your time, honoring your worth, and living these years with the freedom you've earned. So, come with us as we uncover how to help wisely, love deeply, and protect your peace like never before. Before we begin, if you're ready to embrace a life of clarity and strength, tap that subscribe button and join our community. Let's walk this journey together. The first person you should avoid helping, the willfully ignorant. There's a special kind of exhaustion that comes from trying to help someone who simply won't see the truth. You've likely met them before, the person who has all the information they need, the advice, the examples, even the proof laid out in front of them. But they turn away. They choose denial over reality, comfort over growth. These are the willfully ignorant, and after 60, pouring your energy into them can drain the peace you've worked so hard to build. Let me share a story about Clara, a 64-year-old retired nurse who prided herself on being a pillar for her family. Her younger brother, Tom, was struggling with his finances, making the same mistakes year after year: impulsive spending, ignoring bills, brushing off advice. Clara tried everything. She shared budgeting tips, offered to connect him with a financial advisor, even sat down to walk him through his expenses. But Tom always had an excuse. "I don't need a plan," he'd say. "Things will work out." No matter how clear the path Clara laid out, Tom refused to take a single step. Over time, Clara noticed her own energy waning. She was losing sleep, worrying about Tom's future, while he carried on unchanged. "I thought I could help him see," she said, but he didn't want to look. Here's why the willfully ignorant are so draining. It's not that they lack knowledge, they actively reject it. They cling to what feels easy, even when it's hurting them, because facing the truth means facing change, and change is hard. When you try to help someone like this, you're not just offering guidance, you're battling their resistance. Every conversation, every effort feels like pushing a boulder uphill, only for it to roll back down. Psychological studies on behavior change show that people who deny reality often do so to avoid discomfort, and no amount of external support can shift them until they're ready to confront it themselves. For seniors whose time and energy are precious, this is a cycle that can sap your strength and steal your calm. The impact goes deeper than frustration. When you pour yourself into someone who refuses to learn, you risk doubting your own efforts. You might wonder, am I not explaining it right? Am I failing them? But the truth is, you can't teach someone who's chosen not to learn. As an ancient philosopher once said, you cannot guide a man to a destination he refuses to see. Your kindness, your wisdom, they deserve to be received, not dismissed. And when they're met with denial, it's not your failure, it's their choice. Clara finally realized this. After one last heartfelt talk, she told Tom, "I'll always love you, but I can't keep planning for you." She stepped back, focusing her energy on her garden, her grandchildren, and her own well-being. Tom didn't change right away, but Clara found peace in letting go. "I'm not giving up on him," she said. "I'm giving him the chance to choose for himself and giving myself the chance to rest." So, how can you protect your peace if you're dealing with a willfully ignorant person? Start by recognizing the signs they deflect advice. Make excuses or dismiss facts outright. Instead of diving deeper, offer one clear suggestion and leave it there. Set a boundary limit how much time or energy you spend on their issues. For example, you might say, "I've shared what I know. Let me know if you want to try it." Then, redirect your efforts to those who value your input, even if they're struggling. Most importantly, remind yourself your worth isn't tied to their choices. You've done enough by offering a hand. They have to decide whether to take it. This isn't about closing your heart. It's about opening it to where it's truly needed. Letting go of the willfully ignorant doesn't mean you stop believing in them. It means you believe in yourself and the peace you've earned. If this speaks to you, drop the number 1 in the comments below to let us know you're rethinking how you help this person. And keep watching, because the next 6 types will show you even more ways to guard your energy and live with clarity. The second person you should avoid helping, the relentlessly entitled. There's a certain weariness that comes from giving to someone who expects it as their due. You know the type, the person who believes the world owes them, who sees your kindness not as a gift, but as an obligation. They lean on you, not to grow, but to avoid carrying their own weight. These are the relentlessly entitled, and after 60, investing your energy in them can erode the peace you've earned, leaving you feeling more like a servant than a supporter. Let me tell you about George, a 66-year-old widower who was always there for his nephew, Mark. Mark was in his 30s, constantly in and out of jobs, always with a new excuse: bad bosses, tough luck, or just life being unfair. George helped however he could. He lent money, offered advice, even drove across town to help Mark move after yet another eviction. But no matter how much George gave, Mark never took steps to change. Instead, he'd call with new demands, acting as if George's help was his right. "Your family," Mark would say. "You're supposed to help." Over time, George felt drained. His savings dwindled, and his own plans, like traveling to see old friends, kept getting pushed aside. "I thought I was doing the right thing," George said, "but I was losing myself trying to fix his life." Here's why the relentlessly entitled are so taxing. They operate from a mindset that their struggles are someone else's responsibility, often yours. They don't see your help as a chance to stand taller, but as a crutch they're entitled to lean on forever. This dynamic isn't just exhausting, it's disempowering for them and unfair to you. Psychological research on entitlement shows that people who expect handouts without effort often lack the motivation to take responsibility for their lives. By constantly stepping in, you may unintentionally enable their dependence, reinforcing the idea that they don't need to change. For seniors whose time and resources are finite, this can mean sacrificing your own dreams to prop up someone who refuses to move forward. The toll goes beyond time and money. When you give endlessly to an entitled person, You risk resentment, both theirs, when you can't meet their endless demands, and yours, when you realize your generosity hasn't made a difference. You might feel guilty for wanting to pull back, thinking, what if they really need me? But real need inspires effort, not expectation. As a wise saying goes, you can't fill a cup that's already full of demands. Your compassion deserves to be met with gratitude, not entitlement. George reached a breaking point when Mark asked for another loan without even a thank you for past help. With a heavy heart, George set a boundary. I've helped as much as I can, but now it's on you to make things work. He offered to share job hunting tips if Mark was ready, but no more cash. Mark was upset at first, but George felt a weight lift. He started planning that trip he'd postponed, and his days felt lighter. I still care about him, George said, but I had to care about myself, too. So, how can you protect your peace if you're dealing with a relentlessly entitled person? Look for the signs. They demand help without effort, rarely express gratitude, and act as if your support is owed. Instead of giving in, set clear limits. Offer help that encourages independence, like sharing resources or advice, rather than solving their problems. For example, you might say, I can show you how to budget, but I can't cover this bill. Be firm but kind, and redirect your energy to those who appreciate your support and use it to grow. Most importantly, release the guilt. Your worth isn't measured by how much you give, but by how wisely you give it. This isn't about turning away from love, it's about choosing where your love can bloom. Stepping back from the relentlessly entitled frees you to live with purpose, not obligation. If this resonates, drop the number 2 in the comments below to let us know you're rethinking how you help this person. And keep watching, because the next 5 types will reveal even more ways to safeguard your energy and embrace your peace. The third person you should avoid helping, the destructive. Some people don't just take your time or energy, they bring chaos into your world, stirring up storms that disrupt the calm you've worked so hard to cultivate. These are the destructive ones, the ones who carry negativity, conflict, or drama wherever they go, not because they're lost, but because they thrive in the mess. After 60, when your peace is more precious than ever, pouring your heart into someone like this can leave you feeling battered, as if you're caught in a storm you didn't create. Let me share a story about Louise, a 62-year-old volunteer at her community center who was known for her warm heart. She befriended Sarah, a neighbor who seemed to need a listening ear. At first, Louise was happy to help Sarah's complaints about her job, her family. Her endless disputes felt like cries for support. But soon, Louise noticed a pattern. Sarah didn't want solutions. She wanted to vent, to argue, to pull Louise into her conflicts. Every conversation left Louise drained, her mind replaying Sarah's sharp words or negative outlook. When Louise suggested ways to resolve a feud with a coworker, Sarah snapped, accusing her of not understanding. Over time, Louise's own joy began to fade. She dreaded Sarah's calls, yet felt guilty for wanting distance. I thought I could lift her up, Louise said, but she was pulling me down with her. Here's why the destructive are so harmful to your peace. They don't seek growth or healing. They feed on chaos, often dragging others into their turmoil for company or validation. Their negativity, whether through constant complaints, subtle criticism, or outright conflict, creates a toxic atmosphere that erodes your calm. Psychological studies on emotional contagion show that prolonged exposure to negative people can lower your mood, raise stress levels, and even affect your physical health, like increasing blood pressure risks seniors need to minimize. The destructive person isn't always malicious. Sometimes they're unaware of their impact, but their refusal to address their behavior makes your efforts to help feel like pouring water into a sieve. The cost is more than emotional fatigue. When you engage with a destructive person, you might find yourself walking on eggshells, second-guessing your words, or blaming yourself for their unrest. You may lose sight of your own boundaries, sacrificing your serenity to keep the peace. But as an ancient teaching reminds us, you cannot calm a storm by joining it. Your kindness, your patience, they deserve to be met with respect, not chaos. Helping someone who thrives on destruction doesn't just dim your light, it risks extinguishing it. Louise reached her limit when Sarah started venting about a new conflict, dismissing Louise's gentle advice with a cutting remark. Heart heavy but resolute, Louise decided to set a boundary. She told Sarah, "I care about you, but I can't keep having these conversations, they're too hard on me." She limited contact to brief, neutral exchanges and focused on her volunteer work, where her positivity was welcomed. The relief was immediate. "I didn't realize how much her chaos was affecting me," Louise said. "Now, I feel like I can breathe again." So, how can you protect your peace? If you're dealing with a destructive person, watch for the signs. They're often negative, quick to argue, or create drama where none is needed. Instead of diving into their chaos, offer limited support. Listen briefly, then redirect with a neutral response like, "That sounds tough. I hope you find a way through." Set firm boundaries, such as reducing time spent together or avoiding topics that fuel their negativity. Protect your energy by surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, even if they're facing struggles. And remind yourself you're not responsible for someone else's storm. You're responsible for your own calm. This isn't about abandoning compassion, it's about preserving it for where it can flourish. Stepping back from the destructive frees you to live with clarity and joy. If this hits home, drop the number 3 in the comments below to let us know you're rethinking how you handle this person. And keep watching, because the next 4 types will show you even more ways to safeguard your peace and thrive. The 4th person you should avoid helping, the perpetually indecisive. There's a subtle frustration that builds when you try to help someone who can't or won't make a choice. They come to you with questions, dreams, or problems, seeking your advice, your clarity. You listen, you guide, you offer a path forward, but they stay frozen, circling the same dilemmas without ever taking a step. These are the perpetually indecisive, and after 60, pouring your energy into their endless hesitation can trap you in a cycle that drains your time and spirit, leaving you stuck in their indecision. Let me share a story about Helen, a 65-year-old retired teacher who was always a mentor to her younger cousin, Rachel. Rachel was full of ideas. Should she change careers, move to a new city, or start a business every few weeks? She'd call Helen, spilling her thoughts and asking for advice. Helen would spend hours listening, suggesting practical steps, even researching options for Rachel. But no matter how much Helen offered, Rachel never acted. She'd thank Helen, promise to decide soon, then call again with the same questions. Months turned into years, and Helen realized she was exhausted, her own hobbies and plans sidelined by Rachel's endless what-ifs. "I wanted to help her move forward," Helen said, "but she kept pulling me into her loop of indecision. Here's why the perpetually indecisive are so draining. Their hesitation isn't just about needing guidance, it's a lifestyle of avoiding action. They fear making mistakes, so they seek endless input to delay the discomfort of choosing. By engaging, you become part of their cycle, giving advice that's heard but never used. Psychological studies on decision-making show that chronic indecision often stems from fear or perfectionism. and no amount of external encouragement can push someone to act until they confront that fear themselves. For seniors, whose time is a precious resource, this repetitive loop can feel like running in place, stealing energy you could use for your own growth. The impact goes beyond wasted time. When you invest in someone who won't decide, you might start to feel ineffective, as if your wisdom isn't enough. You may even take on their stress, worrying about their future while they remain stagnant. This can chip away at your peace, leaving you tethered to their inaction. As an ancient philosopher once said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." Your guidance deserves to land where it can spark movement, not linger in the limbo of indecision. Helen finally saw the pattern. In their next call, she told Rachel, "I believe in you, and I know you'll choose what's right when you're ready. Let me know when you've decided, and I'll support you." She limited their talks to casual catch-ups, freeing her time for painting classes she'd put off. Rachel didn't decide overnight, but Helen felt lighter. "I had to let her find her own way," she said, "and I found mine again, too." So, how can you protect your peace? If you're dealing with a perpetually indecisive person, notice the signs they ask for advice repeatedly but never act. Or they cycle through the same options without progress. Instead of diving deeper, offer one clear suggestion and step back. Say, "Here's what I'd do. Let me know how it goes." Set boundaries by limiting how often you discuss their dilemmas, perhaps redirecting to lighter topics. Focus your energy on those who value your input and use it to move forward, even if slowly. And remind yourself you're not responsible for their choices or their lack of them. Your role is to guide, not to decide for them. This isn't about giving up on someone, it's about giving yourself the freedom to live fully. Stepping back from the perpetually indecisive lets you reclaim your time and purpose. If this resonates, drop the number 4 in the comments below to let us know you're rethinking how you handle this person. And keep watching, because the next 3 types will reveal even more ways to protect your peace and thrive. The 5th person you should avoid helping, the chronically dishonest. Few things cut deeper than realizing someone you've trusted isn't being truthful, not just with you, but with themselves. They twist stories, bend facts, or weave half-truths to suit their needs, leaving you questioning what's real. These are the chronically dishonest, and after 60, investing your energy in them can unravel the clarity and trust you've spent years building, pulling you into a web of confusion that threatens your peace. Let me share a story about Martin, a 68-year-old grandfather who was always there for his old friend, Carl. Carl had a knack for charming stories, often asking Martin for help with small crises, alone here, a favor there. Martin obliged, believing Carl's tales of bad luck. But over time, Martin noticed inconsistencies. Carl's reasons for needing money didn't add up, and promises to repay never materialized. When Martin gently asked for clarity, Carl deflected with new stories or turned the blame back on Martin for doubting him. The betrayal stung, but worse was the toll on Martin's spirit. He felt drained, second-guessing his judgment and trust. "I wanted to believe in him," Martin said, "but his lies were eating away at my peace." Here's why the chronically dishonest are so damaging. Their dishonesty isn't just about occasional fibs. It's a pattern that distorts reality, manipulating emotions and eroding trust. They may not always lie maliciously. Sometimes it's to avoid accountability or to maintain control, but the effect is the same: confusion, doubt, and a sense of betrayal. Psychological research on deception shows that prolonged exposure to dishonest behavior can increase stress and anxiety. As you're forced to navigate a shifting reality, For seniors who value clarity and stability, this can be especially taxing, disrupting the emotional balance needed for a fulfilling life. The impact goes beyond hurt feelings. When you try to help a dishonest person, you're building on unstable ground. Your efforts, whether advice, support, or resources, are undermined by their refusal to be truthful. You might find yourself making excuses for them, hoping they'll change, or blaming yourself for their deceptions. This can sap your confidence and cloud your inner peace. As an ancient teaching reminds us, truth is the foundation of harmony. Your trust, your integrity, they deserve to be met with honesty, not manipulation. Martin finally saw the truth after Carl's latest story fell apart under scrutiny. Heart heavy, he confronted Carl calmly. "I can't keep helping if you're not honest with me." When Carl deflected again, Martin chose distance, limiting contact to brief, surface-level exchanges. He redirected his energy to his grandchildren and a local book club, where honesty strengthened his connections. The relief was profound. "Letting go was hard," Martin said, "but it gave me back my clarity." So, how can you protect your peace? If you're dealing with a chronically dishonest person, watch for the signs: inconsistent stories, deflections when questioned, or a pattern of broken promises. Instead of confronting or chasing the truth, offer minimal engagement, respond neutrally, and avoid investing in their requests. Set boundaries by keeping interactions brief and factual, like, "I hear you, but I can't help with that." Focus your energy on relationships built on trust, where your support is valued and reciprocated, and remind yourself you're not responsible for their lies. You're responsible for your own truth. This isn't about losing faith in others, it's about guarding the trust you've earned. Stepping back from the chronically dishonest frees you to live with clarity and confidence. If this resonates, drop the number 5 in the comments below to let us know you're rethinking how you handle this person. And keep watching, because the next 2 types will reveal even more ways to protect your peace and thrive. As the years weave their stories through our lives, we come to see that every moment we give, every word, every gesture of care is a piece of our heart offered to the world. But as we've learned today, not every hand we reach for is ready to hold ours in return. The willfully ignorant, the relentlessly entitled, the destructive, the perpetually indecisive, the chronically dishonest, and the 2 types we'll explore next. They may cross your path, asking for more than you can give, or taking more than they'll grow from. And in those moments, the greatest act of love for them and for you is knowing when to step back. This isn't about closing your heart or dimming your light. It's about shining it where it can bloom, where your kindness meets willingness, where your wisdom sparks change. After 60, your time, your energy, your peace are treasures you've earned through years of giving, forgiving, and rising again. Imagine what it feels like to wake each morning with a heart unburdened, free from the weight of others' chaos or demands. Picture a life where your generosity flows to those who cherish it, where your days are filled with purpose, not sacrifice. That's not just a dream, it's a choice. And it starts with you. Take a moment to reflect. Who in your life lifts you up and who quietly pulls you down? You don't need to cut ties with anger or guilt. Sometimes it's as simple as a gentle boundary, a quiet step back, a decision to pour your love where it grows. This is your wisdom at work, the kind that comes from living, learning, and choosing to honor the life you've built. Your peace isn't just a gift, it's your legacy. At Senior Wellness Advice, we're here to walk beside you, sharing stories and insights that remind you you're not alone in this journey. So, if this video touched a chord, stirred a memory, or lit a spark of clarity. We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share who came to mind, or what boundary will you set to protect your peace. Your story might be the gentle nudge someone else needs to find their own strength. If this message resonated, please share it with someone you care about. A friend, a family member, someone who might need to hear it. One small share can ripple into a wave of change. And for more wisdom to live lighter, stronger, and truer in these precious years, tap that subscribe button and join our community. Let's keep choosing peace, purpose, and joy, one step at a time. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you in the next video.